guys? Panic here, otherwise known as Panic Picnic. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I really love StarCraft 2, as you guys know, but one game in particular that has captured the minds of pretty much every StarCraft 2 player out there, it has been the set and series between Serral, which is the current BlizzCon champion, and Taeja. And it's an absolutely fantastic series, and if you don't know, Taeja pretty much had a whole bunch of epic games and almost staged a giant comeback against the monster that is Serral. Now, I'm going to be going over the game, but more specifically, I'm going to be going over Taeja's point of view in particular. I'm not the most knowledgeable about StarCraft, but I can at least point out a couple of things that I've noticed by comparison to a lot of others, about a lot of other pro gamers. So let's go ahead and get started into the replay. So as you can see, this game really just started. Let's go ahead and go into the sounds. Let's go into the options. Let's make sure everything's good. And nothing really is out of the ordinary so far, as you can see. There's no probes. There's no scouts going out on the map, as you can see from both players. But like I said, we're pretty much just going to be focusing on Taeja's point of view. You can actually just do player camera so you can actually see what he's doing and at all times. You can also see his control tabs, which is really, really good, especially if you're unfamiliar with them. If you're unfamiliar with how to set up everything. And I think that's really, really cool, especially for me, who's, like I said, I want to get better at it, and you always want to know, like, what do I really set on things? Now, he's doing just the simple, the simple Terran opener, where you just start off with a supply depot going right into a barracks, of course, on 14. And like I said, nothing's really out of the ordinary here. He's pretty much just going to go ahead and be playing his own game. He's not going to be really doing a whole lot of scouting, which, in my opinion, I think is really odd. Because, like I said, I love StarCraft, but I mainly come from Brood War, where scouting is king. And like I said, I play Terran, so I love scans. So, like, as you can see right here, like nothing's going out of the ordinary. Serral, as you can see, is just really going to be doing his expansion. Trying to go ahead and get that expansion. Ooh, let's go ahead and back to Taeja. Now he is going to go ahead and queue up. I believe he's going to go ahead and queue up a Reaper to go ahead and get something sent over there. And this is going to be really his first bit of scouting. Like I said, he doesn't really know anything that's going on right now. He hasn't sent an SCV scout. He's not scared about like early lane rushes, and he is going to go ahead and go for the CC on the low ground, which is, like I said, it's a little bit it's an easy opener. Sometimes people just go ahead and pop it up if you're unsure, but Taeja's confident enough. Like I said, he's a pro gamer. He knows what's going to go ahead and going on in the mind of Serral. So let's go ahead and see what he sees. So he does see the expansion that is going down from Serral, and with his SCV, and he is going to go ahead and scout. He's just making sure that nothing's going to go ahead and sidewind him with whether it be like early lane rushes or anything. Okay, let's see what he's got going on now. So now we're going to go ahead and get the Reaper. Now this is just a basic, simple dance that I'm pretty sure if you've ever played any sort of StarCraft 2, everyone knows this dance all too well. The Reaper would like to get a kill, but that kill is never really ever going to happen. Mainly because the drone's going to transform into something and then just cancel out. But it's mainly just, like I said, just to harass, see what little scouting he can do. If he can get a kill, he can get a kill. But it's mainly to keep your enemy focused on that Reaper, to just see if you can get them off of like their macro. Now he does keep this Reaper. Alive, and he is doing a factory. He is switching the factory with the barracks. So the factory is going to go ahead and have that reactor. So we can go ahead and do a double. Start off with producing 2 Hellions. Now the Reaper, as you can see right there, does confirm the presence of that 3rd hatchery going down, and that's pretty much all it's really going to go ahead and do right now. Now Taeja, like I said, is still playing his own real game. He's not going to go ahead and start amping up into production, but he is going into that the 1-1-1, which is the barracks, the factory, into the starport. Well, of course, a little bit of modifications by throwing out those 2 Hellions. Looks like he is getting a whole nother set of Hellions, which is really good. Looks like he's getting ready to go ahead and prepare for a giant little run by. And of course, as I said, he's getting that Banshee with the cloak, which is always really, really good. So that's a fantastic opener if you've never used it. Now, like I said, this is he doesn't do a whole lot of scouting this match, which I find really odd. But he is going to go ahead and throw out that Reaper and 2 Hellions into Serral's bases just to see what he can find, see if he can see if there's any of those drones getting ready to transfer over. But the only thing he sees right now are just these 2 queens, and he's really not going to be being able to get a whole lot done with that. The queens are usually going to be able to push him back. He's not too worried about what he's got going on back at home because he does have those 4 Hellions and that 1 Marine. And he is trying to go ahead and deny that Overlord from scouting absolutely everything in his base. Like I said, this is mainly what he's doing on focus-wise. Now he is moving this factory, so he can go ahead and build a whole nother one, a whole nother building. But let's go ahead and see if Serral did confirm the presence of that starport. And he did confirm the presence of that starport and that Banshee. So Serral at least is going to go ahead and know it's going to go ahead and be heading his way shortly. Now he is going to go ahead and do stem. As you can see, he's getting ready to start going into bioproduction. One thing I did notice that I thought was really funny is, let's go ahead and press escape on this, so that we can at least see what everyone's going on. Now one thing I did find a little bit funny, while we all do know the result of this match, one thing I find, like I said, one thing I find funny is Taeja spends a lot of time supply blocked. I mean, granted, he does have a giant roach, and his base right now is completely in danger. While he did try to throw up bunkers as fast as he could, he doesn't have anything to really put in them. He only really has Hellions, and they're not good against roaches. I mean, they're great against lings, but roaches are not good at all. Now he does have these Banshees. Like I said, these Banshees are going to be able to do fine, just to be able to harass absolutely everything. But one thing, but he does make a couple of mistakes. Especially with this, in my opinion, is this misrally of this Marine. Main reason why is because the Marine doesn't really have anything. You've got a whole bunch of roaches. You really don't have anything on the ground. And as you can see from active, don't even tell you, from units on the ground, Taeja really doesn't have a lot to what Serral has. Serral's got 8 roaches and 10 lings. While granted they're not all over here, that's still a whole lot to deal. That's still a whole lot of cleanup when you only have a Marine, a Hellion, and 2 Banshees. And as you can see right here, he's obviously far down in worker. He's far down in workers now, comparatively to the 45 of Serral. So let's go ahead and go back into the production. Oops. And let's go ahead and see what he's got going on. But he does have a queued up tank, so that'll be able to at least go ahead and be able to save him a lot of effort. Now he's doing a whole lot of his own thing. He's doing a whole lot of macro while this entire fight is going on. Serral doesn't really have a whole lot of ways to push up this ramp. The main reason why is because he doesn't have Ravagers, which are upgraded forms of the Roach. He'll be able to just repair these supply depots pretty much till hell freezes over, to be honest. And he's not going to be able to get through these. And these Banshees, as you can see, with 5 kills on one and 5 kills on the other, they're going to pretty much be able to clean up absolutely everything on the map, which is really good. But make no mistake, Taeja is really far behind this match. And as you can see right here, he's just doing his best to make sure that they're not going to get in here, and he realizes that everything's pretty much going to be stabilized. Now he does make a few micro mistakes. As you can see, he's doing his Banshees, trying to stutter step them, and he accidentally hit a rock. But like I said, he's under a whole lot of stress. He's going up against the current BlizzCon World Champion, so mistakes are bound to happen. Now we do have this one annoying roach that's still just left there, and well, he might as well just go ahead and mop it up with what little he does have. Now, like I said, while he is currently far in the back, and he has lost 20 workers. That is a lot of workers. But he is sending these Banshees over just to see what he can do, try to equalize the field. Now he was lucky enough to be able to go ahead and get a couple of those migrating workers that were being transferred, but it seems as though he's not going to be able to get a whole lot because the spores are there just to be able to shut him down. But he's spending a lot of time with these Banshees because he's going to try to get as much as he can done, and he needs to because he is still very far down. Now he's hitting up these gases because he's just out of range of those spores, so they can't really damage him himself, and he's doing his best to try to stay out of vision and do what little he can do. Now Serral didn't really have anything at the time to be able to deal with that, and now he's finally got the Overseer, so he'll be able to try to clean that up. But these Banshees are getting a lot of kills. These Banshees are getting a lot of kills. As you know, they were 5-on-1. I mean, granted, with the exception of a little bit of Lings, this one has 17, and these are 21. I mean, these, while granted they did do a lot of mopping up on units, these Banshees are getting a lot of kills, and they're doing a lot of damage. And as you can see, he's bringing that worker, the worker kill count. He's bringing it a little bit more even. Even though he's lost 20, he's done. He's killed 12 worth of Serrals, which is a lot. Which is a lot of damage, and he's trying to make it as equal and even as possible. I was gonna go ahead and get these medevacs out because, like I said, he needs to at least try to get out and try not to be as scared. And Serral is trying to go ahead and transfer into the mid game, especially because you can see with these upgrades. And Taeja, like I said, he's already pretty safe. He's already got he's got a few tanks, so he doesn't really have to worry about any of those roaches ever coming back again. Now he does have his third orbital, which is really good, and that definitely is able to put him back into the game, especially with those mules. As we all know, mules are quote unquote OP. No, they're not, because I'm Terran. We need them. But this is a really good good pickoff by Taeja, is when he's able to, and he definitely capitalized on the miss micro of Serral. Serral, as you noticed, miss microed these queens up, and I believe he expected Taeja to go ahead and push in, but Taeja did not, and he was able to mop up those queens and get at least a lot done. And granted, we all know that Serral is as we all know, the king of queens. He just constantly produces these things. I mean, even as you can see, he lost a few, but he's got 3 already in the production. Oops. Now those Banshees are still alive, even though they've done that 12 work, gotten those 12 workers. They're still alive, which is absolutely fantastic. And he's got his third base up, and he's starting to stabilize, and he's getting his own 1-1 by as well. And they're actually ahead of Serral's 1-1s. Granted, Serral had to dump all that extra gas into those roaches. And Serral's actually floating a bit. He's got a lot of gas. He's got a lot of minerals. It could have just been a little bit of an off day or whatever. But we're not here to judge. Like I said, they could be able to just curb stomp me and pretty much everyone else. And again, he did win. But as you notice, Taeja spends a lot of time just constantly being supply blocked. And even though he does have 2 on the way, he's going to be supply blocked quite a few more times this match. But like I said, he is able to get out on the map. He's able to at least get some damage done, which is absolutely fantastic. And the game is actually starting to stabilize. He's going to go ahead and start working on his 2-2s. Again, just a little bit, about a fraction of a second before Serral started his. Granted, he's already started on his armor, while Serral hasn't started on his just yet. Now he is going to go ahead and move out here, and he's putting his tanks in a really good position, if you've noticed. We'll go ahead and pause that. I really like this tank position. It's just so that the Marines and the medevacs can go ahead and push out, be able to clean up whatever they have. And if Serral does go ahead and push in around, these tanks are going to be able to go ahead and shell them from over here. And if they try to come around, like I said, he's got rocks, and he'll be able to go ahead and start shelling over here, so that he can at least start to go ahead and get some stuff done. Boop. And again, these Banshees are still alive and have not been dealt with. How many kills does this one have? This Banshee has 19 kills. Now he did go ahead and knock down that hatchery, which is absolutely fantastic. But he is a little bit overextensive by putting that siege tank on creep, and he's gonna go ahead and pay for it right here. Now as you can see, everything's just slamming into him. He knows he's going to go ahead and slam into him. He's getting hit with banglings. He's getting hit with zerglings. And right now, this is not a fight that Taeja really wants to be in, especially with all those hydralisks that he sees right there. Now, one thing that I do notice, and you'll notice a little bit later, Serral spends a little bit of time not focusing on these tanks. And trying to get rid of the bio. Sometimes I can come back and bite him. Like I said, it's not much of an analytic mistake, but try to do with whatever your opponent gives you. Try to make do with whatever you can get. Now, Taeja was able to save at least a little chunk of his Marines, so he didn't lose absolutely everything, and his medivacs are still alive. And even the Banshee's still alive. The Banshee's been around, the Banshee's seen some things. This Banshee's got PTSD with all the stuff she's done and seen at this point. Now he is going to go ahead and get another command center, which is absolutely good. He's really just constantly expanding. It's 10 minutes and 26 seconds into the game, and he's look at this production tab. Look at this production tab. I mean, granted, well, he's got all these minerals and go ahead and expands. Oh, and he go ahead and he sees the Zerg army. He's like, I want to leave. I do not want to be here. Oh, I'm gonna go see if they've left. Nope, they have not left. I am terrified. I would be terrified too. Now he did see that. I'm not sure if you noticed, but he did see a little bit of a Zergling. So he sent one guy off just to try to go ahead and deny that scouting. They're gonna have a little duel here in a second. Now Taeja's definitely, like I said, he's really starting to get back into this game, and I would have to say he's actually fully into this game now, especially with his upgrades, and he's even getting the attack upgrade on his armory. But one thing I find really interesting is even if you just start looking at the control groups, these are Taeja's control groups. Like I said, pretty much everything's it's not entirely super organized. So you don't need to feel like that overwhelmed when you are trying to play. You don't need to have like 6 Marines on one control group, 6 Marines on the other. Just try to split them out, and that's pretty much what Taeja does, but he still leaves them on the same control groups. That's one thing I did notice. And like I said, it definitely helps you improve. So you're not trying to like overly macro yourself and complicate things. Now again, Taeja does go ahead and set up these tanks back here. Like I said, so his units do have a follow-up plan. As we can see from Serral, he's got a huge army right here, but Taeja's going to go ahead and have to deal with that one way or another. But one thing I do find funny is, even though Serral is on, oops. Got a 3 real quick. Even though Serral is upgrading into Hive, he hasn't really scouted him that much, and I want you to at least notice this. Serral's really doing more of a man mode Terran. He doesn't care about Serral's workers, because he really, even though he did do a lot of those Banshee attacks, that was really the only time he was on his side of the map. As we can see, Serral's got a whole lot more upgrades. He's got these Hydralisk in, he's got this Evolution Chamber, and look, he hasn't even scouted the main's second gas. He hasn't sent a Liberator. He hasn't sent on any. He hasn't sent over any medevacs. So this is what Taeja's doing. He's doing, like I said, he's doing a bit more of a man mode style, where he's not harassing. He's not doing all that. He's playing his own game. Let's go ahead and go back to his vision. Boop. Now he is set up here. Now his tank line is set up, and like I said, he's doing a little. His Banshee is surprisingly, like I said, still alive, and is just doing a little bit of scouting. Now Serral can't really push off creep because he does know that the tanks are there, whether he can't confirm it or not. But they're really trying to fight over this observation tower, because like I said, vision is king. Like I said, even though the fight's going on, he's just going to go ahead and pull back a little bit, and he's going to go ahead and passive, and just go ahead and get his macro engine back up and running. Now he is going to go ahead and go for 3-3, and as we can see, Serral doesn't have anything by comparison. Boop. Now he does, in my opinion, make a little bit of a mistake right here, and he does siege up really close to creep, because he's definitely trying to go for that full-fledged, the full-fledged push. But again, he does have all this banglings, and again, this is the same mistake that he made the last time. Now let's see if he learned from that mistake.
Base is under attack.
Just went ahead and checked back just to see if there, just to see a little bit of ling damage, just to see what was going on. It was, like I said, he appeared out that there were two lings, so nothing really. He was going to send his full army back, and he's upgrading this into a planetary. So this is really not that big of a deal for him to. Not that big of a deal for him. Now again, he did see the full-fledged army, and again, look, Serral's doing his little patented style, doing the full 360 surround. He's coming at him from the left, he's coming at him from the north, and he's coming at him from this. He's coming at him from the right, and again, he's got a little bit of that. I thought that would be considered coming at him from the south. Oops. Now, one thing I find, this is. Like I said, I'm not doing more of an analytic strategy, but what I'm saying is take your advances where you can. Make sure to make the most out of whatever mistakes your enemies do. And especially when I pointed out the siege tank mistake, is you'll see in just half a second. Again, while I do understand why he did this, he completely ignores the siege tanks right here. And look what's going to happen to Serral's army. Just watch. He completely loses his entire flank that he had the advantage of. Well, yeah, it does give a little bit of that splash damage onto his Marines. These siege tanks are still alive and they're still shooting. And look, they're giving off a few extra shots, and even look, they're even able to stay alive. Serral really wasn't able to really get anything out of that. Like, yeah, he was able to push back Taeja's army, but he still has his tanks, he still has his Marines, and he still has enough vigor behind him that he can still start pushing in again if he wants to. He's going to go in, he's going to start cleaning up a few creep tumors, just keep that spread down a little bit. And again, one thing I do want to point out that is very interesting, especially if you're not familiar with it, look at how Taeja's tanks really are grouped. They're pretty much being grouped in a straight line. They're not being clumped up, while with the exception of that one attack that that did go down. He's getting that siege tank line, so if one does go down, he's got two others to go ahead and cover for it. Boop, boop, boop. And again, he's just doing a little bit of creep cleanup. He's got his 3-3 on the way. I mean, he does have his 3 for his weapon, but again, he's being counterattacked by Serral right here. He's being counterattacked by Serral, and it feels like for right here, he is a little confused, like Taeja, whether should he send his full-fledged army back, because you already saw him do a little bit of like, hey, I'm gonna come back. Oh, hey, I don't need to come back. So like I said, even the pros are unsure of some actions, because like I said, we're all human. Now he's going to go ahead and load up a medevac, just see what he can do right there, whether it's going to be a little bit of harass or it's just going to be a little bit of creep cleanup. Like I said, he's not really doing a whole lot of harassment in terms of his units or on the enemy's workers. He's doing a lot of creep cleanup and just doing a lot of man mode fighting. And that's really what's putting him back in, is Taeja's doing a really good job just fighting. Oh, and funny enough, that is luck. Look at that. That is 11 HP on that medevac. So he was able to pull that out, and again, these things can come back. So every little mistake, whether it be a mistake that your opponent makes, or even if it's just some sheer fact of luck, make sure to capitalize on everything you've got. Because like I said, it'll all benefit you in the end. Boop. Now again, we're getting these siege tank lines going on. We're not really getting any groupage, as you can see. He's spreading out his siege tanks, throwing them in siege mode, and that way if anything does happen, he knows he'll be able to start covering. Now he is doing a little bit of pokey poke, but he realizes he cannot poke too much because Serral is going to bite back. Now we do know that Serral does still have his little little army right here, and as you can see right here, it's starting to attack. Now he's still mainly focused on this. I'm not sure if he's like fully looking at the minimap, but as you can see, he's like, hey, should I go back? Should I go? He's pulling some of his units back, but again, he's mainly just holding his ground. He does have this tank up here on the high ground, but he is losing his supply depots. He is starting to lose these barracks that are producing these marauders, because again, as you can see right here, chitinous plague is coming up, and as you're a Terran, I'm pretty sure you've all had nightmares. You know what's coming up. Those are ultralisks. But again, he's already supply blocked. He's at 62 workers by comparison to Serral 78. But again, he does have those mules, so he is still in this game. And it's, again, like I said, it's already equalized, which is fantastic. Boop, boop. And again, as you can see, we've got Serral making another hatchery over here. And again, look at all of this. Just look at what Serral has, and then look at what Taeja sees. Taeja does not even know. I mean, with the exception of him understanding build orders, with the exception of understanding the game and understanding of all of that, Taeja has not confirmed, nor does he know that ultralisks are on the way. Granted, when you do see the ground armor and melee weapons being upgraded, that is a telltale sign of ultralisks. But that being said, Taeja hasn't scouted. He doesn't know. He hasn't really dropped his scan, other than he's just trying to push the creep back. Taeja, like I said, is doing more of a man mode type of Terran. Now he is still taking he is still taking damage back at home, but he is doing a little. He is slowly stopping that wound. Now, Serral is again doing his patented, I'm going to go ahead and attack you from 12 different angles, which is absolutely fantastic. But again, Taeja is able to go ahead and stabilize again, because he's got those tank lines, which are able to go ahead and cover. But as you can see right here, he does have a whole lot of medevacs that are just on the fringes of 1 HP, 11 HP. I'm pretty sure that one still has 11 HP. But again, you just saw that tank had 17 kills just by itself. But those little things, they'll go ahead and add up. Those 2 medevacs can either be repaired, or they can at least go ahead and provide at least some minuscule amounts of healing. Now again, Taeja's playing his absolute heart out. As you can see from his APM, he's running at 330, 350. 350, and that's not saying that Serral isn't. 600, 630. Did you see that? That is absolutely insane. But again, he does have these little like again, he's doing these daring things. Look, that medevac picked up something when it has 3 HP. Make sure to take those risks, but only take the risks that you know you can at least benefit something from. Now he is getting pushed back due to the blinding clouds and banglings and everything, but he's doing his best to go ahead and at least try to target fire each and every one of them as he can. Now one thing that does suck about StarCraft replays is you can't see the mouse of each individual player, but you can at least get the general idea of what they're doing. Now he is doing, like I said, a lot of creep cleanup, and he is doing a little bit of pushing right here. And he's definitely still doing his man mode strategy. And just like I said, he's got a whole lot of Marauders, trying to do his best to make sure the Marauders are in the front. Just try to take as much of those bangling strikes as possible. Now Serral does have an annoying little Zergling over here that's preventing the main from landing, because as you can see, that's gone. So it looks like he moved that over there. And Ultralix are on the way from Serral, but again, Taeja is not 100% certain, but he knows that they're coming. So he's already got Marauders, which will at least be able to go ahead and at least provide something, because they are really good against armor. But again, Ultralix did receive a few little buffs, so we're going to go ahead and see what's going to happen next. Well, the Ultralix right there is fully confirmed. He does now know that they're on the field. Now he is going to go ahead and drop a few missile turrets in the base. And if you don't know what those things are doing, they're really just meant to mess with the AI and maybe just pick off a Viper or 2 if you're lucky. But he does have a decent amount. He does have a few siege tanks, so he's at least be able to hold them off. And again, 3 Marauders at a time is fantastic. And he's going to go ahead. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and start producing 2 Liberators. Just go ahead and start countering these Ultras. And again, look, all these medevacs are pretty much still alive, and they're able to. I mean, granted, now they're starting. The lower health ones are starting to die. Now he was required to lift off his command center, because again, he was a little terrified, and I would be too, of what Serral's attacks are going to be. But he does have a whole lot of minerals. He's floating around almost 1,000, and he has enough gas. And he does have enough gas to make. So he's fantastic on that. But he is, like I said, he's just clearing out a few walkways, making sure everything's good. But he is starting to run low on minerals. Like I said, they're out of his main, they're out of his natural, and they're out of his third. But again, he's constantly expanding, so there's really no problem to that. And he's even getting a whole nother planetary fortress, which is good. I said, like you see, like he's not doing a whole lot of harassment attacks. He's mainly just, like I said, he's fighting the army where he can, and if he can take out a base, he'll like if he can take out the base, he'll take out the base. But we're not really seeing him like selectively target the base. We're seeing him attack the army and beat that army, and by subsequent he's able to get a base. And again, like I said, Serral's got his little patented 360 attacks, and look at that supply drop. Supply is all the way down to like 149, 148, and this is the first time we're actually seeing something that is specifically designed, that is really specifically designed to see if we can get a worker, with the exception of those early Hellion attacks and the Banshee retaliation after he got his own worker line destroyed. But Serral, like I said, he doesn't know any of the other bases that Serral has, but he does know that Serral's still got an army and is still kind of terrifying. So the current, so it looks like his current strategy. Oh, look at this. He knows that the Liberators aren't enough, or Marauders aren't enough to go ahead and start dealing with the Ultralisks himself. He's going to go straight into Ghosts. And as you can see right there, we have Ghost Academy going down. And he is getting another CC. He's, like I said, he's constantly building CCs. It's 20 minutes in the game, and I don't even want to know how many CCs he's built this game. Ooh, definitely making sure those those play clouds are, I forgot what it's called, are out of the way. Now we're getting to see more of Taeja actually starting to specifically target bases rather than just the main army. Now his production isn't what it used to be because he did lose a few, he did lose a Rax or two, but he's getting it back up, only doing really one tank at a time. So it's very slow, so if you lose a tank, it sucks. And even though that Ghost Academy was completed, oh, there we go. Speak of the devil. Now we're starting to see ghosts being starting to be made, and that gas is going to start slowly dwindling down since he started to get those upgrades. Oh, we've got 4 ghosts on the way, and we still got an army on the field for both players. And pretty much they're almost back about maxed out. We've got 177 to 182. And this is a nice little pickup for Taeja right here. And then he scans, and then he's terrified and runs away. Nice little pickup seeing drones, and the next thing you do is just scan to kill more. And then you'll just see that. Now again, like you see, he's just he's sitting on a Liberator or two. Like those are really the only 2 Liberators that I've seen been made. But nothing. He's just like, man, maybe I'll get some harassment done. Maybe I won't. But so we'll just see what happens. Again, he's still doing his more of a man mode style. He does still have his 3 ghosts, and they're on their own control group, as you can see right here. He moves them all to control 3, and he's got his main right here on control 2. Oops, gotta go back to scene.
Ghost reporting.
All right, let's gotta go ahead and start seeing how everything is. He's trying to expand more, and his he's trying to definitely get that top base from him. But again, sees that hatchery going to go down, so he's got to pull that back. Now, as you can see, the only thing really in the production tab right now are just ghosts, and more ghosts. I don't even want to know how many ghosts he's got. It's got to be a lot. Let's go ahead and take that. Let's go and take a half second and see what see the unit composition he's got right now. He's got 38 Marines. He's got 16 Marauders, 5 siege tanks, and 9 ghosts. These Liberators right here, like I said, this Liberator's it's got 9 kills. Looks like it may have prevented like a little bit of a run by or something, or a little bit of the attack from earlier. But this is, like I said, he's only got 1 Liberator. He's got no real upgrades on this. He's got siege tanks, and again, he's only got that 1 upgrade in that attack. Even though he's been constantly mainly producing siege tanks, and he's losing a few of them here and there, his main counter to those Ultralisks, with the exception of his ghosts, were his Marauders. And again, he's got these ghosts, and he's pretty much just grouping them all up right here, and he's starting to throw them all, even though he's got his 9, like I said, all on the exact same control group, which is really, really good. So just, like I said, make sure to pay attention to where you put those control groups. Boop.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Now he is going to go ahead and drop down he's going to go ahead and move another base in. He's moving his 2nd in to go ahead and get that thing. Now he does see them. He does see that army due to his sensor tower, and he's going to go ahead and scan and see what he can go ahead and snipe out. And big snipes on those infestors and a couple on the Ultralisks to make sure that he doesn't really have to go ahead and deal with those. Those are expensive units. And look, we're up to 12 ghosts on Taeja's side. And come to the only 3 Ultralisks of Serral, he doesn't really have that much. And again, he can't really replace them right now because he doesn't either have the income or he doesn't have the supply to be able to do so right now. But Taeja is definitely prepared if there's a Broodlord transition or if there's an Ultralisk transition. It doesn't matter. Taeja has it with those 1.5 million with those 12 ghosts. Now this is a giant attack right here. Those ghosts aren't cloaked, and he's definitely getting mobbed. As you saw, he was, but he is getting those snipes off on those key units. He got a few on the infestors. Oh, there's a fungal right there, and he's trying to make sure he can protect those ghosts as many as he can. Look, he had 12, now he's back down to 9. I was gonna see if he can take some really good snipes off. See if he can just whittle down the army with what he does have. Now snipes do a lot of damage, do a lot of damage, and they can either one-shot a bunch of units, or at least just pick off a bunch of the key units. Now Serral right now is just producing lings. We are 25 minutes into the game. Their bases are getting mined out. It's harder and harder to expand. We're pretty much just trying to do the best we can with what little we have, mineral and gas-wise, that's still left on the map. And Serral's constantly trying to get this base over here. I don't blame him. Boop-a-doo. And again, we still have these low health medevacs from the early game. There's a lot of them are still alive. He hasn't really lost medevacs. He's gonna go ahead. Ooh, where are we going today? Oh my goodness. But again, we're back up to 10 ghosts now. And his income is not the best. It's still very slow. It's not getting it produced as much as we saw earlier. He's at 168, and he's pretty much just stabilized at that and starts slowly going up. Now that he's hit his magic number of it looks like 10 ghosts, and he knows that there's not any really more Ultralux on the way, or so he's seen so far, he's going to go back into his siege tank production. Start mopping up those lings. Now he did start to expand again right here, and he's trying to get as many of those mineral fields, just try to suck it up, trying to vacuum up as much as he can. Now Serral is getting Burrow, which is one of those little mop-up tech expansions that he's trying to get, and Taeja's trying to see what little he can get done, and see if he can mop up that hatchery, which would be a really good kill due to its low HP, and also just be able to mop up a few drones. Like I said, he hasn't done a whole lot of scouting or mineral and base harassment, with the exception of his entire army doing it. He's not doing a lot of those pickups in this game, at least. Now he does know that there's a giant army right there, and but yet he's still going to go ahead and start pushing in with his marauders and all of that. He's like, it's okay, I can lose that Ghost Academy, I can lose all this. I don't really want to fight you right now. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of your bases, because I know I don't have money, and that means I know you don't have money. Especially when he's 26 minutes late into the game, and like I said, he's with the exception of all those workers, he's still he's all the way down to 39 workers. He's actually lost quite a few, and Serral's still up to 62. Oops. Make sure we're always able to see what Taeja's up to. Oh no. He knows he's getting attacked right there. Because the Overlord was able to at least provide a little bit of scouting. But now he's at least getting his production back up, because now he's got a fresh little mining base, and he's about to go ahead and get a whole nother one, which is going to be really good for him. He's trying to delay it as much as possible. He sees that now he's got to deal with those burrowed lings, and burrowed lings are a pain. And he's like, oh no, there's an army right there. I do not want to fight you right now. But that is a fantastic fungal by Serral, and he's going to start being able to pick those up. But again, that simple micro, just being able to pull one of those medevacs so you're not going to go ahead and destroy your own army, which is really good. But again, he sees that there's no real Ultralus. Serral's pretty much mainly producing mass lings, banglings, going back to more of a simpler strategy, because he knows he can't really go into those Ultralus tech right now, because he's just going to get sniped, especially because he's still got those 10 ghosts on the field. We don't really have any nukes in play, which are always fun to see. Oh, I love Terran. I love nuking things. It's fun. Oh, but he is starting to lose these medevacs, these low health medevacs that haven't been repaired, that have seen so much. They're still alive. Funny enough, I'm surprised the Banshee, that Banshee from earlier ended up dying. But he is starting to see what he can do right here. What did he kill? But like I said, it's more of a, it's, even though he's got all this APM and all of this, it's not as, he's really starting to slow it down, going down to like 185, 100. Nothing's really, it's not really that high. He's like, you know what, it's a long game. I'm gonna take it chill. Let's just relax. I got no gas right now, quite literally. But again, Serral's trying to do his little patented surround, do the 360 surround and everything. Great blinding clouds on the tanks. With these banglings and hydralisks and zerglings are doing their best to try to clean up as much as they can. But getting these good snipes on the ghost, just to try to see if he can just try to kill anything. Because every kill right now is precious. You don't really have the full ability to be able to reproduce what you once had. especially tech units. But he is losing these ghosts. He lost a few more, especially due to those fungals on it. But he's taking out what appears to be a healthy base, and that is GG. Serral really, Serral did both players did an absolutely fantastic job. But as you can see, with the loss of this base right here, the only real mining base was this one from Serral, and Serral really didn't have a whole lot, with well over half of his supply being in workers, and the only thing he really has to do production wise, and the only units he has are really Zerglings, and oh look, he's got Queens, Vipers, and Infestors. Serral really didn't have much at the end, and like I said, it was a fantastic game by both players. But one thing I definitely want to take point out from that I really noticed, and I really want you guys to take away from this, is that even though even if you're a BlizzCon champion, even if you're like a pro player like Taeja and Serral, you still, even at these higher levels and higher level tournaments, people still make mistakes. And you need to be able to capitalize on as many of those mistakes as you can. Make sure to watch those replays. Just see what you can do. Well, like I said, I'm not the best pro. Serral and Taeja were probably doing things that were that I would not even be able to understand. And one quote that I definitely want to say before I leave you guys with is from one of my favorite casters, is Artosis. Is if you can point out a flaw in a pro player match, that means he's better than you. And it's something along those lines. And the main takeaway point is if you see a simple mistake, it means he was too busy doing 20 other things. These guys are running with APMs that are average. The average for Taeja was 383, and the average for Serral was 501. The effective APM was 229 for Taeja and 306 for Serral. But like I said, you don't really need to go ahead and do all those full-fledged scoutings. You can pretty much do the man mode. Just do your best to try to stay in the game. Even though, I mean, granted with Terran, we do have those. Once we get 3 orbitals, we can mule pretty much anything we can. And as you can see, that's an orbital. That's an orbital. Oh, that's a planetary. It looks like, oh yeah, that was the orbital that got lost over there. But just do your best to try to stay in the game. Again, like I said, if there's any mistakes that your opponent makes, do your best to capitalize them. If you still have those 1 HP medevacs, that means your opponent didn't kill them. That means you don't have to spend the resources to go and build those 1 HP medevacs, and go ahead and do something with them that you can that'll help you at least do the advancement of the game as best as you can. That being said, my name is Panic Picnic. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. I love both of these players. I think they're absolutely fantastic, and I agree this is one of the best series in the games, the best series of StarCraft 2 that I've the best game, one of the better games of StarCraft, because especially since it was one of the first ones on the new patch. Now they're gonna get more and more exciting, and like I said, I hope you like it. Now maybe do maybe a new one of these. Maybe I'll start doing these sometime again soon. That being said, my name is Panic Picnic. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.